Hello, everybody. Hello, hello. Can you hear me well? Yeah, perfect. So, welcome to the Blender conference. Thank you, Ton, for starting the event. It was very nice to hear all the new things and what's happening in the year. So my name is Filip, and what I want to talk about today is how we came to be as a studio and as creatives, show you a bit of what we do, and show you a bit of our curious journey. My profession is a art director at our studio called Mangoshake. So let's start from the beginning. Me and my colleague, Jakub, with who I found the studio with, we were always misfits from a young age, just running around. We loved skateboarding and messing around, playing with our parents' cameras, doing all sorts of weird things. I would say we were always like artistic souls and trying to find our place in this universe. And eventually, we ended up studying architecture, mainly because we liked the idea of the complex design processes, and it is because it is a profession that keeps you at the edge of multiple disciplines. In other words, we didn't have to choose between art and engineering. We could do both, and we didn't have to give up some of our interests. So I would say that's where our creative journey started. And we worked in the industry for a while, but it was hard for us to commit because we loved the designing, but we also loved photography, filmmaking, and we were getting pretty good at CGI as well. We were curious about so many things that we simply couldn't stay in this one job. We needed more space. So in the end, we had no other choice. We knew we had to create a space for our own thinking, a place where we could focus on everything we love and everything we were curious about. And so we started our own studio called Mangoshake. Now, don't get me wrong, it sounds all great, but it's a hell of a lot of work. And during the first few years, we were working on random, unrelated projects. We were making visualizations for architects, making movies and films for real estate clients. We were animating products, even making stop-motion spots. And each project we worked on, we had to learn new skills, new methods, and to us, it felt kind of weird and misplaced. We were doing everything and nothing at the same time. When I think about those days, I always remember this meme. So, yeah, that was pretty much the feeling. So we figured, yeah, we need a change. But, we kind of liked the everyday randomness, and we loved the learning. So what we needed was a shift of perspective. We needed to start asking questions for ourselves. So we started with a simple question. We come from architecture, but we want to do motion design. So what does architecture have in common with motion design? Well, turns out quite a lot. You can explain complex ideas within seconds, and you can brief people very effectively. Essentially, you're balancing information and aesthetics. So we were kind of happy about that. Or you can show people something that they cannot imagine themselves. You can make them feel at home, and the building doesn't even exist yet. So that's kind of beautiful, right? Yeah, so I think we're getting somewhere, right? So we can ask another question. So we knew 3D from the ArchViz industry, but what if you want to do more commercial stuff? So we asked ourselves, what does marketing have in common with 3D? That's easy, right? Everything. Well, I wish more brands would understand how much more effective it is to use 3D for presenting products. You can create a product portfolio and fine-tune all the branding months before you even have the actual product. You can make R&Ds, you can play around with the details, you know? I mean, can you tell that these are not photographs? I don't think so, and yet it's all Blender here. You know, you can model the products, you can render the images, and frankly, as a studio these days, you don't need much more besides Blender. Yeah, this is what it looks like in the e-commerce. And there were hundreds of products for this specific client, and a few of animations. And we also shot a spot, a commercial for this brand, where we used a lot of the 3D we already had from the product pages, and we used them as VFX elements. And just like this.
You can have whatever you like. You can have whatever you like. When the beat goes off, we bang to the. You can have.
Yeah, so that was it, and okay. So a different type of product, furniture. Same old story, right? Actually, we can take this one step further and follow up on this question with a more detailed one. Can you design a hypothetical showroom? Oh yes, that's what we did. We designed a virtual office for this furniture company, just like a regular building. We figured out the layouts, materials, style, everything, and its purpose: to sell their products in the best environment possible. Imagine, perfect branding, no locations, no logistics, no crews. You can fine-tune all the details and materials, details. You can have rounds of revisions. Again, I wish more clients would understand how much more effective it is to use 3D for this. So I believe you're starting to get an idea of where I'm heading. So what's next? What's the next question we can ask? We always wanted to do advertising, but not the dull one, something more imaginative. So what do ads have in common with imagination? Well, it's also easy. You're able to show your products in a completely unique way, and you can get very creative. For example, our trick is to show people something they could not have seen before. For example, a moon falling into the sea, or a jungle that's all white. Something to catch the eye of the audience. Okay, so we could ask weirder and weirder questions, and basically that's what we try to do at Mangoshake. That's what we think our job should be. How can we use knowledge from one industry and make something fresh with it? Combine it with something else, or think about it more creatively. As you can see from this beautiful sketch of mine, and I think you understand what I mean. And I think we don't think our approach is something extraordinary. I mean, it's nothing new, right? We knew that Leonardo da Vinci merged art and science. Albert Einstein merged science with imagination. Or Steve Jobs merged technology with user experience. And it always leads to something more interesting, I would say. To me, I think that modern society puts people in boxes, and I think that we as artists, we're obliged to communicate that the boxes are a construct. Because if you can think this way, then suddenly architecture inspires film. Science sparks design. The visual effects, they borrow from art and physics. And even with Blender, coding translates to art. So I think that's beautiful, and the moment we started to look at the world this way, a lot of doors just opened for us. And I think if you yourselves can see this way, and see the world as a more imaginative place, you can just look and you'll find a way. You know, if each discipline brings its own strengths, and when they overlap, something amazing happens. So let's start embracing the exploration. We love to learn, we love to explore. So let's do that. So what is the lesson learned? I think that for us, creativity doesn't happen inside one field or one discipline. It transcends them. It happens at the intersections. And I mean, we were able to get this far because we were stupid enough to try. And a few years into this, I think it was a good decision. And every experience, good or bad, it moves you forward. So in our case, architecture, where we started, gave us structure. We learned filmmaking kind of on our own, and that gave us storytelling. Design gave us empathy. And computer graphics gave us imagination and a way to show us, or show you or the audience, our imagination. And together, all of them, they make us who we are. So my message to you, my fellow blenders and shakers, is do what excites you. Do what gives you the goosebumps. Even if it feels scattered at first, just trust the process. It might not be easy at times, but hey, you know, someday you might find yourself standing at a Blender conference and giving a talk about imagination. So thank you very much. That's it from me. Yeah. If you feel like you have any more questions or you would like to catch up on something, then just talk to me. I'll be here the whole time. Thank you.